And together with me, I have David. We work at the same company, but we are working in two different areas.
Yep.
I work with what's called incident response. That's my main job. And I focus on the recovery part, meaning that once we know how the threat actor got in, my part is usually to salvage, recover, rebuild, reconstruct, make things happening again, things like that. But David, you do something else.
Yeah, it's kind of weird when you toss the words around, because in a sense I also work with incident response, but I work trying to make the incident response not happening. So I'm working in a SOC as a senior threat analyst. When you're talking about level 1, level 2, level 3, I'm working as a level 3. So we have, I don't know, 75 level 1s. They're working around the clock, and they can escalate to level 2 and to level 3, depending on the trickiness of the questions and the alerts that comes in. So I'm working with the managed security service part. And if something goes really, really bad, we can always call Mikael's team, where the forensic people are and so on. But in a sense, I mean, we are all here preventing cyber attacks.
Yeah, trying to prevent the breach and minimize the impact, which is the slogan we have.
Yeah, exactly.
And one of the things that we very often do is that we need to deploy some kind of EDR.
Yeah.
Very, very fast.
Yeah.
In an environment where the threat actor might be. Hopefully not, but we might need to do that. And when we listen to customers and they say, we are doing a proof of concept of Defender EDR, and that's like, okay, that's cool. So when did you start? A year ago, and we are still investigating. No, that's not the way to go. So before we dig into the deep stuff here, so
can I mention one more thing?
Sure.
Because I mean, this is obviously what we're going to talk about. Is obvious when something has happened, and they call TrueSec. What are we going to do?
Yeah,
basically.
Cry.
That's one thing, and we actually got emotional support for that as well. No, we have crisis management, but let's leave that out of this one. But when we talk to other colleagues in the business and we ask, how do you do forensics and so on, and they send the forensic team to an incident, they do the report and they send the report and then they leave.
Yeah.
And we're like, okay, are you only sending forensics people? Yeah. I mean, they're needed. Well, obviously they are needed.
Yes.
But when you call us, of course we're sending forensics, but we're also sending Mikael as rebuild, and we're actually bringing in the SOC like there would be a new customer. So the SOC can handle whatever, if the threat actor is still in the environment, as you say. So the SOC takes care of all the threats, so the forensics can work in their own pace and channel down the alerts that might still be related to the attack.
True. And we define this as an incident SOC, meaning that it's not meant to be a permanent solution, but during the incident, we need to have eyes on the ground. We need to see what's going on.
Yeah.
And that's why we do this emergency deployment of EDR, meaning that we make the decision and we deploy it, and it's up and running approximately 2 hours later. And that's it. And then we see things.
Yeah.
And when we can see things, you can actually do things. That's the whole idea. We do always have a disclaimer.
Yeah, we want you to read it.
Yeah.
Don't tell marketing that we said that.
So we need to do some kind of planning, and we need to have some kind of choices, and then we need to do some kind of initial configuration and some kind of initial threat hunting.
Yes.
And then we need to respond to the threat, of course. And we're going to divide it in two parts. My part is the first part, because that's what I do. When it comes to threat hunting, someone else is going to do that.
That's not you. Yeah.
So we need to have the plan. The plan is that we need to cover approximately 80% of all the clients, and that includes servers. I really don't care if it's like, well, we only need it on the clients. No, we need it on the clients, on the servers. We need it on everything. We usually don't deploy it on standalone machines. because they are in fact standalones.
Yeah.
Meaning that we have a NAS device there running Linux. Well, we don't need to put it on that machine, not today, not now. We have a workgroup machine over there running Windows 7. Well, no, we don't need to have it there. We need to do the masses. We need to cover as much as possible. We need software and license. That's
that drumming is probably not going to work well,
no,
Marks.
it doesn't.
Sorry.
Sorry, not do that. We need software and license. We need to have some kind of options for deployment, and we need to have some kind of okay. So even if the customer is not going to keep this, we still need to have some kind of approval. The most common question is this: will it affect the operations of the computers? No, it will not. Does it interfere with existing antivirus? No, it does not.
It depends on the antivirus, but
yeah, but in general,
yes.
It doesn't interfere with Defender if you use that.
No,
it doesn't interfere with the big white bear, the Chinese thing that eats bamboo, etc., etc. It doesn't interfere with them in general. It does, however, interfere on server operating system, because it works differently on clients and on servers. So on servers, we usually need to put the whatever antivirus, anti-malware they have in some kind of pass-through mode. Not complicated, it's just a group policy and then do that. But that's pretty much the only thing we need to do.
Because we have seen the antivirus actually nicking files and quarantining files so the EDR couldn't see them. So the EDR saw other stuff, but they couldn't see the actually malicious files. And that was very tricky to analyze when you're missing parts of the log.
If you're running a regular Windows server that has a regular Defender installed, and then you have a third-party antivirus that you put on top of it, then both Defender and the antivirus will work at the same time. If that's the case, Defender is going to pick up everything before your third-party antivirus does it, which is pretty funny, because it goes like, well, our antivirus software doesn't say anything. No, because Defender already picked it up, and you don't monitor Defender, so you don't see that. So,
so you have a lot of unhandled alerts in your Defender portal because you didn't log in, but you logged into the antivirus portal, and that was green.
Yeah, fantastic. We also, just to mention, we have pictures. We can't show them, but we do have pictures of every anti-malware, antivirus software you can imagine exists, together with a ransomware note behind. And the anti-malware software says, you're okay, you're safe, you're good to go. And then you see the ransomware note in the behind. So not all these antivirus, anti-malware, they do not protect you against ransomware in the way you think they do, unfortunately. So how do we get software and licenses? That's one of the tricky part. Let's go back. So say that you are Windows, a Microsoft store, you're a Microsoft shop, right? You're on Microsoft, and you don't have EDR. You don't have anything. The way to solve this is to call Microsoft and say, we have an emergency. We are under an attack and we need help. They will provide something 180 or 90 days or something like that. More or less unlimited number of Defender EDR licenses for you. And you can run that for that period of time. Once you're done, you don't need to have them anymore, so then you can uninstall them. It doesn't cost you anything. So Microsoft provides you with that. If you're running any other vendor, most of them do the same thing. So if you contact the vendor of the EDR application, blah, 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 then they will go like, sure, you can have a free trial for number of
3 hours.
3 hours. Have a great time. So it's not that difficult. So you never need to pay these licenses up front. And they all work fully in a trial mode.
There are no restrictions. I mean, everything is turned on.
there's one thing that you might have an issue, and we're going to cover this immediately. Microsoft has two license modes. They have what's called the business premium, business,
something.
yeah, business.
Yeah.
So the business suite does contain Defender. It contains Defender EDR. However, everything that is needed by a professional threat analyst has been removed from the UI. Meaning the functionality of the software is great.
Yeah.
You just can't do threat hunting, and you can't do certain settings. One of them, which I know that we're going to talk about, is the automatic response and delete and clean up thing, which is always on when you run the business suite. Now, if you're running a business suite and you're adding a Defender EDR license, it doesn't automatically change. You need to do that change manually, and that takes approximately 4 hours. So
Yeah,
I'm going to show you later on where you can find that. But the way to solve this is that if the customer is using Business Premium, then you need to add at least 25 full E5s or E3s plus E5 security add-ons.
Yeah.
And the number needs to be more than 25.
Yeah. I think one of the licenses is called P1 and the other P2.
Yeah.
Not sure if they changed it just now because of Ignite. I don't know. It's the same. Yeah. But you want the P2.
Yeah.
Yeah. P1 is what Mikael just
thing
spoke
is
about.
that once you're done with this and you didn't find anything, or you did find anything and you solved it, then you can remove it. So you can go back to it. But the business premium license does have a limitation, not in functionality, but in operations. You can't do what we need to do to find issues, right? So this usually takes 5 minutes. Hey, we're going to deploy EDR. Okay, what's that? We need to have it. Okay. Does it cost anything? Nope. Okay.
Not yet.
Not yet. There are regulations.
There are?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes, there are. I'm so sorry. So let's say that you have health equipment, something like
one of the X-rays machine.
X-ray machine.
Yeah. Those are nasty.
They are. In theory, you can deploy to them.
Yeah.
But would I do that? No, I would most likely not do that. How do you fix that? You deploy everything around it. Anything around it will cover whatever that is going to be. So you need to do a risk analysis somehow and say, hey, we're not going to deploy to these machines, not to these machines, not to these machines. Now, it's very rare that X-ray machines are joined to domain.
Maybe.
But they could be.
Yeah.
Or you can have drilling equipment, or you can have any kind of manufacturing device, or you can have trucks that runs on a warehouse.
Yeah.
So you need to be sure that you don't deploy them on things that could affect the business.
Or kill people.
Oh, yeah, that's worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, what we say is we call it visibility. So just like Mikael said, that if you're excluding something, make sure that everything that talks to that machine or the stuff that that machine can talk to needs to be monitored. That's it.
Yeah.
If you can't, turn it off, take it away, put it in a segment where it can't be reached.
Another discussion is usually, okay, so you're deploying an application called EDR, Defender EDR, or XDR. Yes. Is that going to collect any data? Yes, it's going to collect a lot of data. Oh, GDPR, any other regulation, dangerous,
Yes.
lawyers.
Yeah.
It doesn't work that way at all. It does collect the same kind of data that your event log is already collecting, the same data that your antivirus or anti-malware is collecting. The difference is that it's sending it to a central location.
Yes.
But it's collecting the same kind of data. And who can access that data? Well, it's only the SOC that can do that. You need to be a security operator, otherwise you can't do that.
And you have different roles as well, because the security operator can see the date. I mean, we can see file names, and we can see dates, and we can see IP addresses and usernames and processes and so on. But we can't open the files. We can't read them. You need to be a security admin, which is the role above the security operator. Then you can go live and download a file, but you can't read the file on the system. You need to take it away, and everything you do is logged. So Mikael can just come and say, "Hey, David, why did you download David's salary 2025?" Well, I was curious, but maybe it's not part of my job. So
no, but I agree. I'm also curious, so I would like to see that. So what it really does is that it gives the SOC the ability to react on behavior.
Yes.
Meaning that it collects information about things that might not be there and might not do the things they do, so that we can isolate the device, right?
Yes.
We can
collect malware files. I mean, we can get the stuff that we need, because we have malware forensic people. They want to dig through code, so we can download the file from one of the machines that are infected and give that to the malware forensic people. And then when they're digging through it, they come back with IOCs that we can put in place in the EDR, and we can threat hunt for even more and find more. So it's a teamwork.
And when we are at the GDPR question, the most common thing is that people believe it's a GDPR question. It's not, but it might be an HR question, because in theory, you could say, "Hey, there's a malware running on that machine. I'm going to block internet access."
Yeah.
That will affect the user that now doesn't have access to the internet.
No.
That's an HR question. They might need to know that somebody could block the functionality of that computer. But we do that to protect the organization.
We can also see URLs that user has been trying to reach, which could also be an HR question.
Could, and the pressing thing here is that it might be the user that is using it.
We don't know.
It could also be the threat actor that is using those, but it's using them in the user account's name. So we never really blame the user for doing things, because they usually don't. It's going to be somebody else that is misusing the account, and that's what we want to cover. So there are regulations. You need to cover this, and this usually takes like 15 seconds to explain, because there's really no option. We need to deploy this. Now, there's a couple of deployment options. You can always use Config Manager. In the case of customer has been affected, meaning ransomware, there's no Config Manager. That's usually gone. Intune might still work, maybe. Defender for Cloud can be used, but it usually takes too much time. So if you use Defender for Cloud, I can show you that later. And together with Azure Arc, it works when you deploy a machine, because then it comes immediately. But if you have a machine and it's being deployed, then it's based on policies and agent awareness and the ability to download, etc., etc. That could be anything from 5 minutes to a day. So the most common reason, the most common way we do this is actually through group policies. We use GPOs. But let's take a peek look, because I think it's demo time. It is demo time, but we're going to talk about this first.
Yeah, we are. Internet access.
Yeah. So if you're suspecting that you're being under an attack, the most efficient way to kill it is to block outbound internet traffic. It's not incoming. Inbound traffic is usually not the most important thing.
No.
It is usually the outbound communication. And that means we need to block all outgoing traffic.
Because we're going to stop them from calling home to the command and control. We're going to stop them from exfiltrating data.
And that works great. The problem is that all the EDR, XDR software, regardless of vendor, are cloud-based.
Yes.
which means that when we block internet access, we're going to make sure that the threat actor can't access anything. It also prevent us from accessing everything. So it's really can't do that, but I need to do that.
So how can I monitor your environment if I don't have outbound access?
Can't, but you need to have that. But
Yeah.
then I need to. So the question is,
but you have a solution, right?
I do have a solution,
Yeah.
and the solution is to use a proxy.
Oh.
And when you have a proxy, the proxy that we use is actually we run Squid proxy. Setting up a Squid proxy takes roughly 15 to 20 minutes. You need a Linux Ubuntu installer. It's installed on the principle of next, finish.
Yeah.
Then you're done.
Yeah.
And then you install the Squid, and then you have a text file. And the text file contains all the URLs. That's it.
Done.
And then you configure all the clients to use the proxy.
Yeah.
And the proxy is the only one that has internet access. You can run it on a Windows machine if you want to, but if you do, you should never have it domain joined. And you really need to have a very complex password. Now, how do you configure a proxy? Well, it's using a command called netsh win http proxy. And you can find a bunch of these different methods, but sorry, that was the wrong one. In HTTP, sorry, netsh in HTTP proxy. NetH win a set proxy. Here's user, but you don't need to have that. The only thing you need to do is define the port. And it's not really complicated at all. It's the proxy is the URL to the proxy, and that's pretty much it. I think we have a bunch of different ones.
There are Microsoft Learn links as well.
Yeah.
If you want to read about it.
Yeah, and this is the correct path actually. So I can clearly see that now. And there's nowhere where I can type. I can type. All right. Let's go here. I need to install Zoom. Zoom.
You're installing an application during a live demo.
Yes.
That is hardcore.
We need to have Zoom it from sysinternals, and it's going to be run from sysinternals and open file. And now we can zoom. Thank you. And there you go. And here's the command that I had down here in the list. There.
Yeah.
That's it. We usually don't do socks because we don't need it. But you also need to have all the URLs. So the question is, where is the URLs? Well, they're here. Here's the URLs for Defender for Endpoint. When you do it streamlined is slightly better.
Yeah.
Because when you do it streamlined, it doesn't require that much ports to get out. But other than that, it's
there you go.
You need to have access to this.
Yeah,
that's it. But you also need to have bypass HTTPS inspection. So if you do have a firewall that runs HTTPS inspection, just get rid of it.
Because you might have another proxy in place as well. Several vendors have them.
Yeah.
So you need to turn it off.
Yeah. So how do we get to all these applications? Let me go to my sandbox. Here's my sandbox. I'm going to make it a bit bigger. Let's go and talk about the license things first. It's going to be under settings. And for some reason, today is the internet. Let's have it a slow day.
Okay. Yeah.
For whatever reason.
Because we're live. That's why.
Yeah, it's live and therefore it's apparently slow. This is horrible. I hate this. Do I really need to?
There we go.
So we have this, and then we have the endpoints, and then we have the license. In this case, it says that I have Microsoft Defender for Endpoint Plan 2, which is what I need to have.
Yeah. If Plan 1, Plan 2.
No, Plan 1 is for
the only looky.
Yep, cheeky bastards.
Yeah.
You need to have Plan 2. If you have, where it says Business Premium here, it's going to say that, hey, you're running Business Premium, and Business Premium it's called tenant-wide. Means that everybody in the tenant is going to have Business Premium. Even if you add other licenses, you will still have Business Premium. Unless you have more than 25.
Oh.
Because then there's going to be a button right here in the middle of the screen that says change
type, license, something.
Change license type.
Oh.
And then you can change to the Plan 2. But you need to have a certain number.
So 25 is the magic number.
Yeah, so far we have learned that 25 is the magic number. As long as you have more than 25, then you're good. That's it. So that we need to do, and then we of course need to install it, and then we go to onboarding, and onboarding isn't really tricky. Depending on what kind of operating system you're running, it's going to be in the drop-down list here. If you have Windows 7,
upgrade.
Don't have that. If you have Windows 7 or 8, 8.1, or 2008 R2, etc., then you can install it. It will have less functionality.
Yeah.
It's really limited in functionality, but it's better than nothing. But usually, the masses are not running that.
No.
And in that case, we can just say monitor everything around it and skip that. When you come to Windows Server 2019 and 22, then it's just a batch file, and it's super easy to deploy. And if you have a Windows 10 or 11, it's just a batch file, super easy to deploy. When it comes to the older operating system, like 2012 R2 and 2016 on the server side, then they're using another method. And it's going to flip you and say, hey, you need to install the installation package and an onboarding package. And it's actually the old log analytics agent that are still being required, which is basically the old SCOM agent that is still being used, which is horrible. You should never use the local script. Instead, you always use what's called the group policy, because that gives you the group policy script that doesn't contain any ask for credentials, ask for anything. It just installs the agent. And we do that using a scheduled task. So we run a scheduled task on every machine in the root of Active Directory to deploy it to every machine. And that means usually that within 2 hours, something.
Depending on how many machines you have, but
yeah, we're going to hit all the machines, except the ones that are home and not connecting. But they are also not really important because they are at home and they are disconnected.
Yeah.
And whatever they have, it really doesn't matter. And let's talk about that for 2 seconds before we continue. What we really want to do in this kind of deployment is that we want to do a freeze, right? If I can freeze, meaning whatever is off, keep it off. Whatever is running, keep it running.
Yeah.
Whatever is connected, keep it connected. Whatever is disconnected, keep it disconnected.
Okay. Yeah.
Because that means that anything that is on will get the EDR agent immediately.
Yeah.
Anything that is off won't.
And won't also get the malware. So
exactly. They don't get anything because they're off. Well, I have a computer at home. I can bring it to work. No. Let's just don't do anything because we are suspecting that something might be wrong and we need to see this. Therefore, freeze.
It would be a bummer if you got the malware before you got the GPO with the EDR. So
Yeah.
That's why you should keep it off if it's off. Yeah.
So download the package and create a very simple group policy. It works like a charm. And we have been doing that for a very long time. It works with any Defender or any EDR, XDR application, and you can find those scripts laying around more or less anywhere. So that means that now we get the agents on the machines. But let's say that we do have Defender for Cloud. And we go, hey, let's do Defender for Cloud. Defender for Cloud. Because I like to enable it everywhere.
Yeah.
Because
why not?
You know, what could possibly go wrong? So we're going to go to the subscriptions, and we're going to find the subscriptions, and I'm going to go to the demo deck, and here we have a subscription. In the subscription, I can define the Defender plans, and then I just define that I wanted to do. Now there's a weird thing here. You said that you need P2, right?
We need a Defender plan too.
Yes.
Yeah.
But on servers, you only need Defender Plan 1.
What?
Because Defender Plan 1 on servers is the same as Defender Plan
2 on clients.
Yeah.
Yeah, why making it easy for us?
There are things that you might want to do. Let's go to change the plan, because it's here you can see the things that is different. The things that it does, it's agentless VM vulnerability scanning, not needed. VM secret scanning, not really needed. It's in the cloud. Agentless malware detection, not really needed because we are running an agent. There are things that are nice to have here, but it's not really important when it comes to getting the eyes and the visibility.
So we can actually save money here, because the difference is 10 American freedom coins per server per month.
Exactly. So according to Microsoft, you should absolutely have Plan 2. And there are reasons to have Plan 2, because you get other things. You get more space in log analytics, etc., etc., etc. But this is basically what you do. You enable this, you save this, and every machine that is connected to that subscription will now get Defender installed.
Oh.
That's it. And for Intune, it's the same thing. You go to Intune and you go like,
check,
deployed EDR, and it's happy, and it deploys. And that means it's going to be deployed through Defender for Cloud, through policies, Intune, USB sticks. We use all methods to cover 80%.
We don't even have to reboot.
No, we don't, which is so nice. No reboots. I hate reboots.
Yeah, but the good thing I mean, since we don't need reboots, the rebooting, that also makes it easier for us to roll it out to so many, because there is always 1 or 2 persons in the company say, I'm not going to reboot now. I'm in the middle of a very important Excel file. So I'm going to do my numbers. But like, but we have a crisis. No. So it's good. No rebooting.
We also need to do some kind of initial configuration.
Oh, yeah, we are.
Because even if I wish that everything was by default correctly set, it's not.
I mean, it's what Microsoft think is correct, but from our view, when we're working with it, it's like not correct. So there are a few things that we need to change, actually.
Yeah, and then we need to do some kind of initial threat hunting.
Yeah.
And
we got ideas. Yeah.
So we need to see, lots of machines in a short time. And then we need to respond to that threat and see if it was a real threat. And it says demo, so it means it's your turn.
It's me. So
Are you sharing your screen?
Yeah, it has this red box around it, so I'm not sure. Yeah, it looks like I'm sharing. So I mean, when you go into the settings, I can show you. I mean, I might not click anything because the internet is slow today. We're not sure why. So if you go to settings and then you click endpoints and then you scroll all the way down to settings again, or I think it's called settings again. You get here, and what we need to talk about is the additional features, advanced features. Sorry, it can't read. The text is too small, and I got the wrong glasses on.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Just checking. Okay.
yeah, it works. Cool. I've already changed this, and I forgot to change it back. But what I know is that enable EDR in block mode should be turned on. I think it's turned on by default.
It is.
Another thing is automatically resolve alerts.
It's always on by default.
It's always on by default, but that is really, really bad. You should, if you have a professional SOC looking at all the alerts and incidents coming in, you should turn this off. Because there might be an incident where there are more alerts, and the analyst want to see all the alerts to actually lay the puzzle.
I will explain this in another way.
Yes.
Let's say that you go to the crime scene.
Yes.
And there is a body, dead body.
Yeah.
And there's a gun over there.
Yeah.
And you can see there's a bullet hole in the body.
Yeah.
Which means that you can make the conclusion the gun shot the body.
Yes.
Case closed. So you will remove the gun and the body from the crime scene.
Yeah.
And then you send in the forensics and go like, find the issue. But somebody removed the gun. Yes, because that was obvious.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we need.
But who held it? In which way was it pointing? I mean, it's like, oh, there's a hole in the window, but we took away the glass. Was the glass on the inside or the outside? That
we also removed the body.
Yeah. So I mean,
we need to take it off.
Obviously, I think they understood now. Should we keep going? No. So yeah, we need to take it off.
Then you can't turn it off.
No, exactly. It's always on, and you can't change this. I use the analogy that you're doing a puzzle on your kitchen table, and you have a friend coming home and taking one piece away from the puzzle, and you're trying to
because it's obvious. It's one of the corners.
Yeah.
No.
Exactly. So that needs to be turned off. Seriously. Otherwise, I mean, we should allow or block files, obviously. We can hide potential duplicate device records if you have a machine that you're onboarding, offboarding, onboarding, and you have some issues, or you're renaming the machine so it has the same device ID but a different name. Yeah. This can take it away to make the list more clean. We usually say that custom network indicators is a really good thing to turn on as well, because we could block things. If you find an IP address, we can just add it to a list and pretty quickly block it. If you're not using a very old Windows, like Windows 7, because I've done, this is not, it says here, Windows 10 version 1709 and later, which means that the old stuff, let's use proper words to make this kids friendly.
Classic Windows.
Yeah, PG free, something. No, so please use newer versions of Windows, but if you have that, turn this on and use it. Tamper protection is obvious. That is usually turned on. And you can integrate this with other Defender, like cloud apps. You should have that turned on. I think you have Office further down as well. Web content filtering, that's a very, very not granular thing that's a sort of a proxy, but if you use it, you can use it. But otherwise, download quarantine files, they should be turned on, because when the SOC is finding something and the forensics are digging over here or somewhere, I can actually download this file and send it to the forensics and saying, we got this from this machine, this is evidence, and we can isolate the machine and everything. But so you know, and now you can dig through this in your own pace and it will be fine. But we'll keep monitoring the other stuff.
And the only reason for really finding all these evidence, right? So everybody understands. The only reason what are we looking for? We are looking for what's called patient zero.
Yeah.
How did they get in? Because if we can't find how they got in, they're going to get in again.
Oh, yeah. We've seen that.
It's very simple.
Yeah.
So that's why we are looking for applications and traces and files and things like that. So,
exactly. Yeah. So, I mean, live response should be turned on. Live response for service should be turned on. Sometimes we don't really think that the unsigned script execution should be turned on. It opens up some sort of security issues, but we haven't really seen an attack being used
No.
using that. So you can turn it on if you run a lot of unsigned scripts that you really need to do your SOC work, but otherwise leave it off. If you have Microsoft Intune, just turn it on. In my tenant, I don't have a license, so it's turned off. And there you go. And when you change these settings, you actually have to hit the save preferences. Don't hit apply, because apply will actually send a notification to Microsoft that you need help. So I think apply is a very not good name to have on the button at the bottom of a settings screen. In very early versions of this page, the save preference button wasn't actually visible until you reached the bottom of the page, and the apply button came before. But now, I mean, even if I scroll up, the save preferences button is there, and it's all good. So do those quick fixes and make sure that it's basically set like that. When it comes to the initial, I have another window which is super annoying in the way. It's Teams, by the way. Anyway. When we come with an incident SOC, an incident, and start digging to help the other guys and girls, I mean, we have hundreds and hundreds of lines, OKQL, that we run to go through some data across a couple of machines and narrow things down, trying to find the patient zero that you're talking about. But to make this a more easily accessible demo, I have just typed some quick things. One of the things that we are looking for is actually if PowerShell has made a connection outbound onto the internet.
Because that's kind of not very common in.
No. Sometimes sometimes you can actually see machines that they're running some business application, and the business application is using PowerShell to push a file to another business to business thingy, and that's how you make money. You PowerShell files to people. But for some reason that might not also be good. And in this case, they are called, I used the same demo for another seminar that I did, so they are called DK Breakfast. But this quick query can actually just show you that PowerShell actually connected to a couple of IP addresses, remote IP address.
Bad.
Yeah, I mean, we can click them and we can see what it is, and now the window is away in the. Come on, worky. Maybe it's too slow and we can just skip it. But you can dig through this. This is a Microsoft address. Maybe it's GitHub because I used PowerShell to download bad stuff from GitHub. And when I.
Oh, you mean there's bad stuff on GitHub as well as good stuff?
How much time do we have?
We don't.
No, the thing, I mean, to make this a very super short and quick, this is a sidetrack, but I'm not allowed to build a bomb. If I buy the stuff that I need to build a bomb, the secret police will come and knock my door and ask me what I'm doing. And I'll say, I'm doing this for educational purposes, I might say. And they were like, what? And they say no, and I go to prison, basically, because there is a Swedish law, there is probably a Norwegian law, there is definitely a European law against this. You cannot buy the stuff and build the bomb. That is illegal. But I can do typey stuff on my machine that compiles and executes and detonates in an environment. And I can put that recipe, the source code, on any platform, GitHub, Pastebin, whatever have you. And someone can download that recipe and compile it. And it's a disclaimer at the bottom that says only for educational purposes, so it's all fine. I know the threat actors don't give a beep about those end user license agreements.
So if we go back to the proxy thing, it's very common that we leave the environment and the servers are going to continue be behind the proxy. And that proxy,
because it works so good, and they said, no, don't take this away.
And do we allow free access to GitHub? No, not on the servers. If you really want to download something from GitHub, you need to do that on your management machine or your workstation, and then you put it on the server.
That's probably where you develop stuff and then ship it to the production and testing and
a server that wakes up 4 a.m. in the morning and go like, I really need to download stuff from GitHub.
I haven't been on Pastebin in a while.
Exactly.
What's new?
Yeah.
So another thing that we know is that we're not bashing TeamViewer in this case. We know a lot of threat actors are using that and other.
You mean Screen Connect, AnyDesk, TeamViewer?
Yeah. I mean, blue jeans. No, I'm not sure what they're calling. We have a huge list of stuff that we are searching for, and we ask the customer like, "Hey, do you run TeamViewer?" And they were like, "No, we don't run TeamViewer."
It looks like you're running TeamViewer.
It looks like we're running TeamViewer on actually one machine here.
Yeah.
So then we can narrow that down as well, and we can go look for more TeamViewer installations, because if you're using AnyDesk or any of whatever have you, we know that this is probably one of two things. It might be the threat actor, or it might be an employee who wants to team view their office computer from their private home machine.
Yeah. So and the downside of these applications, just so you understand, it's not the application itself. That's not the problem. The problem is that you're moving authentication out of your organization, meaning that you don't need to authenticate against your system. You're authenticating against somebody else
that you can't control.
You have no idea who's connecting.
No.
So is TeamViewer bad? Not technically, but the authentication method and the traceability of who's using it is beyond your control. That's the problem.
While being on the TeamViewer, you have a good acronym for the RDP?
Yes, RDP is also known as the Ransomware Deployment Protocol. It's true.
It's true. It is true. So when you dig deeper, and I mean, a lot of threat actors are using Mimikatz and so on, and obviously that's one thing we look for when we come into. And this was more than 30 days ago. There is Mimikatz on this machine, well, one of the machines, but I haven't touched the file in 30 days. So that is also one thing that, I mean, when Defender for Endpoints are working with their alerts and incidents, they actually look 180 days back on the data. But when you do threat hunting, you can only search 30 days back. So that's why it's quite crucial that we get access from the get-go.
Yeah.
And when we start to find the tracks that the threat actor has been here for more than 30 days, every day we go to bed and wake up, we're going to lose 1 day of threat hunting in the logs. So that is super, super good to know.
That's why we like working 24/7 for some reason.
And then this might not be run either. No. Okay. So another thing that we've noticed is that threat actors are using curl. Curl comes with Windows. And there is actually no reason for any user to copy curl to another folder and renaming it. Why call it Bjarne, or why call it Öyvind.exe when it can be called curl and still be found in the Windows 32 folder, right? Yeah. So we have actually seen threat actors copy this legit file to another folder, renaming it. But since they're only renaming it, the metadata of the header of the file will still be intact. So with this super short 4-liner, I can search for every file that is not called curl, but when I look in the metadata for the executable file, because the signature of the file is not changed, if it contains curl,
and the reason they can't change that, because then it will be unsigned and then you can't run it.
Exactly. Yeah. And the thing is, what this will help me do is that when I look through the logs and I see david.exe-k-o something -a something, I might understand what it does if there are a lot of parameters, but if it's just 1 or 2 parameters, it could be hard to understand what the program actually does. So this helps me just tell me which application it is, and from that, it's super easy to continue. Awesome. So, and that was my last demo threat hunting. So if you want to share our last slide, I don't know.
I have a slide.
Yeah, I think it's that one.
Yeah. I need to share my screen though.
Yeah, you need to share your screen.
Let's go to share screen. I can share screen.
You can? Oh, you're good at this.
I'm fantastic.
Yeah,
I'm good.
Yeah.
We have consumed the entire hour.
Yeah. Almost.
Yeah, sorry.
Sorry. We like to talk.
Yeah. We do.
Yeah.
That said, we really hope that you understand that number one, you can deploy EDR quickly.
Yeah.
And it's a really good method to get eyes on the ground.
Yeah.
Because we need to have visibility.
Yes.
If you see something, then you can do something about it.
Let the incident forensic people do their job. Let a SOC analyst monitor the environment to keep that load off the forensic people, because sometimes they have to do that as well. So put people in to do what they're best at, structure the work, and send IOCs back and forward. Just send malicious data backwards, get an IP address up to the SOC, put that in place as a blocker, and let the rebuild happen as well, because that's a huge part of an incident.
Awesome.
Thank you very much for your time and nice demos.
Any questions?
I haven't seen any on the chat, but if you have anything now, please feel free.
Everything was super clear.
Yeah. I mean, we're probably not that hard to find if
No,
if something comes up.
the only person that really does have a hard time finding me, according to her, is my ex-wife. She always said the same thing. I can never find you. You never reply. You never answer. I was like,
Whatever. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sorry.
you don't have a hard time finding me. It's like, bing.
No, yeah,
I'm on Teams.
yeah. At the same office. Yeah. Cool. Well,
Cool.
thanks so
Thanks a
much
lot.
for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you
So
very much
we
for.
will notify you when we upload it to YouTube. Then you can post it there as well. So
Yep.
Thank you. Have a good night or day.
Yeah.
Have a
Likewise.
great day, guys. Thank you very much for your
Thank you.
attendance, and thank you very much for listening in.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Bye
Bye.
bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.